True that many pantheists would deny that God is personal, it's nonetheless the case that many other pantheists have thought mind-like attribution of some form or other to the cosmos. Mind-like attribution of some form or other to the cosmos is absolutely central to their positions as pantheists.
So is that more deist then? Is pantheism more of a deist approach than a theist approach?
I couldn't say. I really don't. There obviously are many kinds of pantheists. I'm one kind, and the kind I am changes from year to year, and maybe even month to month. There are many other kinds of pantheists too.
See, when you say personal, I think of personal. It's a relationship between me and this deity, God, substance, whatever. Whereas non-personal would be anything and everything, and I'm just a part of that.
I think that seems to be a fair presentation.
Okay.
I think it's personal, just means if you take it personally. Like it doesn't have to be that, it's that our connection to God.
It's our perception.
You can do it linguistically, I think. If you, in your concept of God, feel comfortable using the pronoun you, then you think of God as personal, I think.
No,
If you just are comfortable with saying God, and you're not comfortable with the pronoun, then maybe you don't think God is personal.
No,
Well,
I think
person, the challenge personhood is the most ridiculous. I mean, it's not just ignorance, it's insanity. I mean, it's the greatest,
Wait a
most
minute,
obvious,
you hear what insanity is here, so I won't know what.
to challenge personhood.
Ascribing personhood?
No, to challenge the idea of personhood, to deny personhood. I mean, to hear people go on about Niagara Falls or nature or the skies or whatever, it pales beside personhood. I mean, do you have grandchildren? I mean, or a spouse that you care about, somebody you care about? I mean, don't you get, that's what's in front of you. I mean, that's reality, that's part of the universe, that's Spinoza's substance.
Remember how this began with the,
And it's
as I
telling you
said,
something.
2,000 years ago, religions came to an understanding that to describe God is to limit God. And
Well,
so when
I'm
the
talking about
Hebrews, for
experiencing- I'm
example,
talking about
said,
experiencing
don't
God."
call God by a name, because you're limiting God the minute you've done that.
You don't have to say anything. I mean, I'm simply pointing to what you experience and what you know. What do you know? What do you experience? What do you see? I see my granddaughter's face, and I can't deny personhood, and I can't deny that that's much more significant than Niagara Falls. I can't explain it. Don't got to say anything about it. I know.
Okay, now, I'm not sure what this sentence, the notion of personhood is deeply problematic, whether that's in the context only of a discussion of God or in the general context of personhood. I'm not clear as to what was meant there.
And back to Spinoza, if he says that all substance necessarily exists, as an expression in,
Well, he's defined it that way.
yes, well. I
That's
think-
pretty cool when you can define something the way you want it to be.
No.
Well, I mean, it's just him expressing his.
Anyway, mind-like attribution of some form or other to the cosmos. I'm not that kind of pantheist myself, but that's just me. I don't have that concept in my head. So anyway, sixthly, and maybe most importantly, it's widely thought that the most important thing about God, the thing that most makes us call deity God, is perfection or goodness. God, in fact the word God means good in English. God is a being worthy of worship. And the pantheists say this of the cosmos as a whole. A variety of positions are possible. One, any pantheistic worldview arrived at by extending the reach of the traditional theistic God will find it relatively easy to assert the same value to the cosmos that it attributed to God. But there are other possibilities as well. Two, insofar as the pantheist assertion of unity may be understood as an assertion of complete and coherent integration, and disvalue held to lie in conflict, disharmony, or incompleteness, then it may be possible to argue that the culmination of metaphysical unity constitutes also the culmination of value. The closer to metaphysical unity you get, that better it is. More naturalistically, it might be suggested, and I've got this one underlined, it might be suggested that pantheism tells us that nature is our proper home, and as such, our proper good. Everything at its place in a wider system which both supports it and to which it contributes. As natural creatures, our most fulfilling life is found in and at one with nature. Now, I can see lots of flaws with that statement, but it's the one I've underlined anyway. Lastly, it should be noted that many scientific pantheists argue that nature has no intrinsic value whatsoever. It's merely something that we happen to love and venerate in the highest degree, which of course is very important to us as a species. Pantheism and the problem of evil. Historically, one of the strongest and most persistent objections to pantheism is that because of its all-encompassing nature, it seems inhospitable to the differentiations of value that characterize life. In what might be thought of as a pantheistic version of the problem of evil, it's challenged that if God includes everything, and God is perfect or good, then everything which exists ought to be perfect or good, a conclusion which seems entirely counter to our common experience that much in the world is very far from being perfect or good. Or to put the argument slightly differently, if whatever we do, or however things turn out, must be deemed the action of God, how can our pantheistic belief demand of us any specific duty? The only alternative conclusion, if we wish to hold on to the difference between what's good and what's bad, would seem to be an equally unattractive claim that a universe containing both values in itself possesses neither. The pantheistic deity in its own being lies beyond good and evil. And you've heard that phrase before. The most popular model for dealing with evil is found in the philosophy of Spinoza, who regards both error and evil as distortions that result from the fragmentary view of finite creatures. Phenomena real enough to the finite beings who experience them, but which would disappear in the widest final vision of God. In this he was, of course, developing the Stoic sense that if we could see the world as God does, we would recognize how its apparent defects, in fact, contribute to the goodness of the whole. 2. It may be responded also that the objection that pantheism counsels moral indifference is based on a modal confusion comparable to that made by the proponent of logical determinism. If pantheism amounts to a doctrine of providence, it's true that what actually happened will be for the best, but it certainly does not follow from that whatever else might have happened would have been for the best, and it's possible that part, at least, of the perfection of the cosmos comes about through our own individual moral choices. I'm still thinking about that one. Pantheism and the distribution of value. Although not all pantheists ascribe intrinsic value to the cosmos as a whole, insofar as they do, that might be thought to give rise to something of a puzzle. For if God is valuable, and if God is identical to the universe, then we might seem committed to the somewhat implausible thought that everything in the universe is equally valuable. A leveling off which gave rise to Coleridge's complaint that everything God and no God are in effect identical positions. Pantheists need not be committed to this view, however, for the fact that a certain feature or element is present in everything by no means entails that it is equally present in everything. Although the universe as a whole may be divine, there is no need to regard each bit of it as uniformly divine, no need, for example, to feel quite the same about the loss of biological species as we do about the disappearance of human cultures and languages. And you know, I wasn't quite clear when reading that which one the writer thought was worse. I would think the loss of biological species, but the way it's phrased is very ambiguous. Historically, there have been two main ways in which pantheists have regarded the distribution of value in the universe.